talk about Mark, Analisa, and Vada in the last episode of Inmate to Roommate, because Mark's butt is just off the chain. I have no idea why Analisa and Vada are still letting him live here at this point. We see him at the beginning of the episode, and he's on the phone with some girl, and this girl's like, I miss you, I want to see you. And he's like, okay, I got you, but I'm not allowed to have company over. So we're going to have to figure a way out to get you up my window. And this girl is full game for it. Like, I am sorry. I don't get what these girls see in Mark. He's unemployed. He doesn't bring anything to the table. And he doesn't even have his own spot. And he has to use a rope ladder to get you to sneak into his room. Mark's like, oh yeah, not only do I have to figure out a way to get her in the window, but I gotta make sure that Analisa can't come through the door, because otherwise, you know, my whole D will just go super soft, and then the girl's coochie will probably dry up. But I'm sorry, my coochie would have already been as dry as the Sahara Desert as soon as he told me that I have to climb up a rope ladder and sneak in someone else's house. Like, that's just juvenile behavior. There's no way a woman in her 30s or 40s should be willing to subject herself to that. Analisa and Vada swore up and down on social media that these scenes were real. So I'm convinced that this girl probably heard that Mark was filming for a show and her ears probably perked up, because that is the only reason that I can see someone doing all this, because that is just doing too much altogether for some freaking fresh out of jail D. And Mark even had to ask the girl to cash app him some money so he can go buy some supplies to figure out how to sneak her in. So not only does Mark want some coochie, but he wants you to send your money to figure out a way to get into this person's house that you're not even supposed to be in. So Mark goes over to the hardware store, and he found him a little rope ladder and a few other things, and like I think he got like a 4x4 or something like that, so he can try to put it underneath his door handle to prevent it from opening it when Analisa tries to come in. After Mark went and bought the supplies, he went back home and tested out all his new equipment. He hooked up the rope ladder to something in his room that was pretty sturdy, threw it over the windowsill, and then he actually tested it out, which I was surprised he did. I thought he was just going to make her be the lab rat testing out the rope ladder for the first time, and I was scared it was going to be a disaster. But he was able to get up it fine, and he decided to waste no more time calling over his little homegirl to go ahead and come over. And he's like looking around, trying to figure out who's in the home. I guess Vada was in the house, and he's like, well, Vada don't even really pay attention to anything anyways, so he don't seem too worried about it. And it seems like Vada doesn't really press him too hard when he does mess up, so it seems like Mark doesn't take Vada that seriously. And Mark has this girl come over. She climbs into the window, and Mark and this girl were being super loud. They were talking, and Analisa knows her home, and she knows there's no other females that live up in that house, so she was quick to notice when she heard another girl talking in Mark's room. I guess Mark didn't really follow through with his plan when it came to playing R&B music real loud in the background, so Analisa couldn't hear him. So Analisa freaks out. She tries to pound on the door. She can't get through the door. She has to grab a butter knife, thinking that he just has it locked, not knowing that he bought a whole nother lock for the door on top of that, and which just shows he has zero respect for Analisa and Vada's home. He's just putting holes in their doors and walls so he can figure out ways to live in their house and break their rules without them knowing. But Analisa ain't no fool. She sat there and demanded Mark open the door, and he finally did, but it did take him a few minutes. She was not about to let up on him. And when she opened the door, what do you know? There's Mark and another girl, and they're all like sitting in the corner of the room, and the girl was like, okay, I don't want to be in between this. I'm just going to get my stuff and go. And Analisa was like, yeah, I don't have a problem with you, but he's not supposed to have anyone here. And then while the girl was walking out, Analisa was like, I don't understand why you would be messing with some dude that has to have you climb up in a window. Like, you gotta have more respect for yourself. And I agree with her, because I mean, that girl should have known that from the jump, and she tried to play dumb and say, oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be here. Like, come on, that was a bold-faced lie, because why would you be coming through the window in a rope ladder if you didn't think you were supposed to be here? Just walk through the front door. And then Analisa noticed Mark snuck off to the bathroom and locked the door, and she realized she heard another female's voice. So she goes to start pounding on the bathroom door, and like I said in my last video when I saw the preview for this week's episode, this should have been Vada's job. He should have been the one knocking on the door, confronting the situation, and getting it fixed, not Analisa. Vada should have been in between Analisa and Mark to make sure anything didn't happen and protect his wife, but he's just like off to the side, hoping that everything is just gonna go away and just trying not to deal with the problem at hand. And Mark was refusing to open the bathroom door, and Analisa pretty much had to force herself in, and then Mark was getting all in her face, screaming in her face, and then finally Vada came running down the hallway and got in between them. And if they don't make Mark pack their bags after this, then I don't know what else to say. I don't know what it's going to take for them to finally kick Mark out if this doesn't send them over the edge, because it's obviously not going to get better. He's getting more disrespectful by the week and more ballsy by the week. I mean, if he's going to have these two women in their house while they're there, just imagine what he's going to do while they're not there. Vada is pretty active on TikTok, and he posted one of his most recent TikToks that he is selling Mark's little rope ladder if anyone wants to buy it. I don't know if he's being serious or if it's a joke, but I thought that was pretty funny. And I did notice Analisa, she's been pretty vocal in some inmate to roommate Facebook groups, and some people were giving her a hard time because of how her place looked. And she said, look, we're going through renovations at the time, and due to the reality TV contract, how your house looks when you first start filming, you have to make it look that way the whole time. She said like they put blue tape because they're painting the walls, and they were not allowed to take the blue tape or anything down the whole time until they had wrapped up filming. And here's her responding to someone, and she said, look, the house that we were in, I was remodeling the kitchen and so forth, and the house I own was purchased by my grandparents in 1978 when it was first built. So this house has been passed down through her family, and she grew up in this house from the time she was 5 years old until graduating high school, college, marriage, having a baby, and I've survived gentrification. She said she's the only one on her block that looks like her besides another lady that's 98 years old, and she said besides a few other people that look like her in her neighborhood. She says, I have survived lupus, kidney failure. It sounds like she was on dialysis for 10 years due to that, and she was close to death, which I had no idea that Analisa was so close to death at one point in her life. And she said, you don't know my story, but when the time was right for me, I was blessed to be able to take money out of my house to remodel, and you are seeing the process of that. That's why I say don't make an assumption about what something looks like. I've been through so much to gaslight anyone, especially you. And then she names the person she was responding to. So I just wanted to share that comment because it just shared some information that I don't think we've heard on the show before. But that is it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you have already kicked out Mark by now? If Vada keeps making excuses for Mark again next week, if I was Analisa, I would just tell Vada, well, you and Mark can go get a spot together then. Because you are not about to keep killing my peace of mind. Because nobody can just chill and relax when you have someone like Mark living with you and on constant BS and showing zero regard or respect for you, your husband, or your house. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below.